I came home to find the dining room table set like a magazine spread. Grilled salmon still warm under foil, roasted asparagus arranged like soldiers on the good china, wine glasses catching the overhead light. The bottle of Pinot Noir from that vineyard in Sonoma, where we honeymooned, sat opened, breathing like it was waiting for someone who gave a damn. The playlist I'd curated was running through our wedding song when I realized I was eating anniversary dinner alone. Again. My phone buzzed at 8:47. Sorry, babe, got pulled into girls' night. Don't wait up. No explanation for the salmon getting cold. No acknowledgement of the lavender candles, or the fact that I'd left work early to prep this thing like it mattered. I'm Austin Pierce, Regional Operations Manager for Southeastern Logistics. I oversee 4 distribution centers from Charlotte to Raleigh, manage a $2.8 million quarterly budget, and coordinate supply chains that keep half the region moving. But apparently, I can't coordinate a dinner with my own wife. Michelle Pierce, Marketing Coordinator at Henderson Auto, my wife of 3 years, expert at disappearing when effort shows up to the party. I sat there cutting salmon that tasted like disappointment and watching candle wax pool on the tablecloth we got as a wedding gift. The wine was perfect. The timing was perfect. The only thing missing was the person who used to care about perfect. That night, I made a decision that would change everything. I wasn't going to chase anymore. The next morning, I opened a separate checking account at First National. Not dramatic, just practical. By lunch, I'd moved my direct deposit and canceled the joint auto pay on her car note, gym membership, and that premium cable package she used to binge reality shows about women who marry rich men. I left a note on the bathroom mirror, going Dutch on everything except mortgage and utilities, your independence, your bill. Michelle found it Tuesday evening while I was grilling chicken for one. She stormed into the kitchen, holding the note like evidence of a crime. "What the hell is this, Austin?" "Reading comprehension," I said, flipping the chicken. "You want space? I'm giving you space, with matching financial responsibility." Her face went through 3 expressions: confusion, anger, then that calculating look she wore when figuring out how to spin things her way. "You can't just cut off my cards." "Didn't cut them off. Transferred the balance to your personal account. You're a marketing professional with your own income. Time to use it." She opened her mouth, closed it, then tried a different angle. "We're married, Austin. Partners. Partners show up to dinner when their husband spends 2 hours cooking their favorite meal." I moved the chicken to a plate. Partners don't text, "Don't wait up," like they're informing a roommate. That weekend, she disappeared Friday after work and didn't surface until Sunday afternoon. No explanation, no apology, just a breezy, "I needed space." Like space was something you could pick up at Target. I spent Saturday building raised garden beds for my neighbor, Olivia Hayes. Single mom, nurse practitioner at Charlotte Urgent Care. The kind of woman who says thank you when you hold a door and means it. She'd been living next door for 8 months, and in that time, I'd learned more about consideration from casual conversations over the fence than I'd experienced at home in years. "You don't have to do this," Olivia said, handing me a glass of sweet tea while I measured lumber. "I want to," I said. Simple truth, no agenda, no expectation of reciprocal gestures. Just a decent thing to do for someone who'd brought me soup when I had the flu and never made me feel like I owed her conversation. She had auburn hair that caught sunlight and green eyes that actually listened when you talked. Her daughter Emma was 7, polite, and called me Mr. Pierce like I was worth respecting. Monday morning, Michelle texted me a photo from some upscale brunch spot. Mimosas and avocado toast with 3 other women. Caption, self-care. Sunday extended to Monday. I screenshotted it and sent it to my buddy Caleb Morrison, contractor who'd helped me renovate the kitchen. His response was immediate. "Bro, she's training for the Olympics of not giving a shit." Caleb wasn't wrong. Tuesday, I got another photo. Yoga class with Rachel from her work. Wednesday, mani-pedi appointment. Thursday, wine tasting with the girls. Each image perfectly curated. Each caption carefully crafted to remind me that she had a life that didn't require my participation. Friday, she came home with luggage. "I'm going to the mountains this weekend," she announced, dragging a suitcase I didn't recognize through the living room. "Rachel's family has a cabin." "Enjoy," I said, not looking up from the logistics report I was reviewing. "That's it? Just enjoy?" I set down my pen and looked at her. Really looked. Designer workout clothes I'd never seen before. New jewelry. A confidence that came from somewhere that wasn't our marriage. What do you want me to say, Michelle? Have fun? Be safe? Don't do anything I wouldn't approve of? I leaned back in my chair. You're going regardless of what I say, so why pretend my opinion matters? Something flickered across her face. For a second, I thought it might be regret. Then it hardened into defiance. Maybe I will have fun, she said. I hope you do. She left that night. I ordered pizza and watched a documentary about supply chain innovations. Olivia texted around 9. Movie night with Emma if you want company, no obligation. I walked over in my stocking feet. They were watching some animated thing about talking vegetables. Emma fell asleep halfway through, and Olivia covered her with a quilt her grandmother had made. We talked quietly about work, her nursing shifts, my distribution centers. You seem lighter lately, she said as the credits rolled, letting go of things I can't control. Smart policy, she smiled. Hard to implement sometimes. Getting easier with practice. Saturday evening, my phone buzzed with a photo that changed everything. Michelle at some resort pool, cocktail in hand, sunglasses pushed up on her head. But it wasn't the drink or the scenery that caught my attention. It was the arm draped casually across her shoulders. Male arm, familiar watch, gold bracelet I remembered from college photos. Jason Hendricks, personal trainer, gym owner, the guy she'd dated senior year before we got together. The one who got away, according to stories she'd told me early in our relationship, back when honesty felt safe. The caption read, "Finally relaxing, don't worry, I'll be back next week." I stared at that photo for 10 minutes, not angry, not hurt, just done. Clarity hit like a freight train I'd been watching approach for months. I walked next door and knocked. Olivia answered in pajama pants and an old Duke sweatshirt, hair in a messy bun. "Austin, everything okay? Can I ask you a favor?" "Of course. Would you take a photo with me?" She tilted her head, confused but willing. "Sure. What kind of photo?" I explained the situation in 3 sentences, showed her Michelle's text, watched her face process the implications. "Oh my God, Austin, I'm so sorry." "Don't be sorry, be helpful. I need to send a message and I need it to be clear." She understood immediately. Olivia Hayes was smart like that. We stood on her front porch, my arm around her shoulders, both of us smiling like people who actually enjoyed each other's company, natural, comfortable, real. She snapped the selfie with her phone and sent it to mine. I crafted the message carefully. "Relax, you're already replaced. Divorce signed." Sent it at 10:47 p.m. My phone started ringing at 6:23 a.m. Michelle's name on the screen, calling from whatever resort she was sharing with her personal trainer. I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 6:31, again at 6:45. By 7 a.m., she'd left 4 voicemails and sent 12 text messages ranging from confusion to panic to rage. I deleted them all without reading past the first line. Monday morning, I called the attorney Caleb had recommended when his ex-wife tried to take his truck in their divorce. Richard Townsend, family law specialist who didn't believe in drawn-out emotional warfare. "You want the quick version or the thorough version?" he asked during our consultation. "Quick, clean, final. North Carolina's a no-fault state. Equitable distribution. If you can agree on terms, we can have papers filed within 30 days. I handed him the photo Michelle had sent, plus 3 others I'd screenshotted from her social media over the weekend. Resort suite, room service breakfast for 2, couples massage, appointment confirmation. "She's not hiding it," I said. "Makes our job easier." Tuesday, I hired a private investigator. Not for drama, not for revenge, just for documentation. Carolina Investigations, LLC, professional, discreet, thorough. Former police detective who specialized in matrimonial cases. "What do you need?" Detective Price asked. "Confirmation of what I already know. Timeline, location, duration. Clean evidence for clean paperwork." "How long?" "Week should be enough. They're not being subtle." Wednesday morning, Michelle came home. I was in the kitchen making coffee when she burst through the door like an avenging angel. Hair wild, makeup smeared, still wearing resort clothes from her getaway. "We need to talk," she announced. "No, we don't." "Austin, I can explain." "Don't." I poured coffee into my travel mug, checked my watch. "I have a meeting at 8. Divorce papers are on the table. Review them with your attorney." She grabbed my arm. You can't be serious. I'm always serious about contracts. This marriage was a contract you decided to breach. I'm exercising my termination clause. It's not what you think, it's exactly what I think. I shrugged out of her grip. Jason Hendricks, personal trainer, your college boyfriend, Mountain View Resort, Suite 314, Friday through Sunday. Should I continue? Her face went white, then red, then something like panic. You hired someone to follow me? I hired someone to document facts. Facts don't lie, Michelle. They don't make excuses. They don't ask for second chances. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. Austin, wait. Review the papers. Sign them. Make this easy on both of us. That evening, I found Olivia in her garden, planting tomatoes in the raised beds I'd built. Emma was helping, tiny hands carefully patting soil around seedlings. How did it go? Olivia asked without looking up. About like you'd expect. You okay? I thought about it, really thought. Yeah, I am. Emma ran over with a dirt-covered hand extended. Mr. Pierce, want to help plant? Sure, kiddo. We spent an hour in the dirt, talking about nothing important, everything easy. When Emma went inside to wash up for dinner, Olivia sat back on her heels and studied me. You know this is going to be messy for a while. Messy how? She's going to fight, try to make you the villain, claim you abandoned the marriage. Let her, I've got documentation. Olivia smiled, but it was sad around the edges. You're handling this better than most men would. Most men don't have neighbors who take selfies for righteous causes. About that, she picked at the soil under her fingernails. I hope you know I didn't do it to cause trouble. You did it because it was right. Big difference. Thursday, Detective Price delivered his report. 18-page document with timestamps, photographs, witness statements from resort staff. Jason and Michelle had checked in as Mr. and Mrs. Hendricks. Charged couples, massage and room service to the room. Very much not hiding their relationship. The photos were clinical, professional. Michelle and Jason by the pool, holding hands at dinner, kissing in the lobby like teenagers. The timestamps showed they'd arrived Friday afternoon, less than 3 hours after she'd told me about Rachel's family cabin. I read through the witness statements. Resort staff remembered them because they'd been loud during dinner, laughing and carrying on like people celebrating something. The waiter mentioned they'd ordered champagne and made toasts to new beginnings. New beginnings. While I was grilling chicken for one and building garden beds for a neighbor who understood basic human decency. Friday, Michelle signed the papers. I wasn't there for the actual signing. Richard Townsend handled it at his office while I was reviewing quarterly logistics reports and pretending my life wasn't splitting in half. Michelle's attorney, some fresh-faced kid from a downtown firm, had tried to negotiate for alimony and a larger share of our savings. Richard shut that down fast. No-fault divorce doesn't mean no evidence divorce, he told me. When one party commits adultery and abandons the marriage, the court tends to be less generous with financial settlements. The final agreement was clean. Michelle kept her car, her personal accounts, and her retirement fund. I kept the townhouse, the furniture, and my self-respect. No alimony, no ongoing financial entanglement. A surgical separation of two lives that had grown incompatible. Saturday, I changed the locks. Not out of spite, just practicality. The house was mine now, legally and financially. I wasn't interested in surprise visits or forgotten belongings becoming excuses for drama. Caleb helped me install new deadbolts and a smart doorbell system. You know she's going to lose her mind when she figures out her key doesn't work, he said, adjusting the strike plate. Not my problem anymore. Cold, brother, I respect it. Sunday, Olivia and I took Emma to the farmer's market and bought vegetables for the garden we were planning together. Nothing official, nothing rushed. Just 3 people who enjoyed each other's company making plans for the next season. Emma picked out tomato plants like she was selecting diamonds, carefully examining each one for signs of health and vigor. This one's got strong roots, she announced, holding up a seedling that looked identical to all the others. How can you tell? I asked. Mom taught me. Strong roots mean it can handle storms. Olivia caught my eye over Emma's head and smiled. The kid was smarter than most adults I knew. We planted everything that afternoon in the raised beds I'd built. Emma insisted on naming each plant. The tomatoes became Fred, George, and Beatrice. The peppers were Sally and Rodriguez. The herbs got dignified names like Professor Basil and Dr. Oregano. What if they don't grow? Emma asked, patting soil around Rodriguez the pepper plant. Then we try again next year, I said. Sometimes things don't work the first time. That doesn't mean you stop trying. Like when Mom and Dad got divorced? The question hung in the air like smoke. Olivia stopped watering and looked at her daughter with the careful attention of someone navigating a minefield. Sometimes grown-ups make decisions that seem hard to understand, Olivia said carefully. But they're usually trying to make things better, even if it doesn't look that way. Are you going to marry Mr. Pierce? Emma asked with 7-year-old directness. I choked on my water. Olivia turned red. Emma continued examining Rodriguez like she had asked about the weather. That's not something we've talked about, sweetie. You should, Emma said matter-of-factly. He's nice and he fixes things and he doesn't yell. Dad used to yell a lot. Out of the mouths of babes. That evening, after Emma was asleep and the garden tools were cleaned and stored, Olivia and I sat on her back porch drinking sweet tea and watching fireflies blink in the growing darkness. Sorry about the marriage interrogation, she said. Emma's been worried about stability since the divorce. She's a smart kid. Smart kids ask direct questions. Too direct sometimes. I watched a firefly land on the porch railing, its light pulsing like a tiny beacon. For what it's worth, I think she's got good instincts. Olivia looked at me sideways. About what? About recognizing when something's worth protecting. The months that followed weren't a rebound. They were a slow construction project. Olivia and I dated officially after my divorce was final, and her own emotional healing felt complete. We weren't rushing toward marriage or trying to replace what I'd lost. We were building something new from scratch, with clear communication and mutual respect as the foundation. Emma called me Austin now instead of Mr. Pierce, and I'd taught her to change the oil in my truck. Simple moments that felt like the family I'd thought I wanted with Michelle, but with people who actually wanted to be there. We took things slow. Dinner at diners that didn't ask for reservations. Hiking trails where Emma could run ahead and we could talk about real things without pretense. Movie nights where nobody checked their phone or made excuses to leave early. Olivia left a toothbrush at my place without ceremony. I built her a little shelf by the bathroom mirror. She laughed at that. You're efficient, she said. I believe in good carpentry. 6 months after the divorce, Michelle was living in a studio apartment downtown, splitting her time between her marketing job and Jason's gym. According to mutual friends who still felt obligated to provide updates I didn't ask for, she'd gained 15 pounds and developed a nervous laugh. Jason had put the gym up for sale and was looking at cheaper locations outside the city. The fitness business, it turned out, was harder to maintain when you had to actually show up every day and deal with overhead costs. Michelle had expected a lifestyle upgrade. Instead, she'd gotten a front-row seat to Jason's financial reality and work ethic. I'd been promoted to regional director, overseeing 8 distribution centers across 2 states. The promotion came with a 40% salary increase and the kind of respect that follows competence and reliability. Funny how much easier it is to excel professionally when you're not constantly managing domestic chaos. Last week, Michelle had texted me, "Can we talk? I made a mistake." I showed the message to Olivia while we were grilling dinner on the deck we'd built together. "You going to respond?" she asked. I deleted the text and set my phone aside. Nothing to talk about. She made her choice when she chose relaxation over respect. Olivia smiled and handed me a beer. Smart man. Smart enough to recognize quality when I see it. That night, lying in bed in the house that finally felt like home again, I thought about that anniversary dinner that started it all. The salmon and asparagus, the wine from our honeymoon, the playlist of songs that used to mean something. I'd set that table for 2 people committed to the same future. Michelle saw a performance she didn't want to attend. Olivia would have seen an invitation to something worth protecting. The difference wasn't in the gesture, it was in the person receiving it. Some people appreciate effort. Others take it for granted until it's gone. I learned to tell the difference. Made all the difference in the world. 12 more months passed. 18 months total since Michelle signed those divorce papers, and I was standing in the backyard of a house that actually felt like home. Not the townhouse where I'd eaten anniversary dinner alone. I'd sold that place 6 months after the divorce finalized. This was a real house, single-family colonial in Myers Park, with a driveway that fit 2 cars and a yard big enough for Emma to practice soccer. Olivia was inside getting ready for our wedding reception. We'd done the courthouse thing on a Tuesday morning, just us, Emma, Caleb as witness, and a judge who looked like he'd rather be fishing. No fuss, no drama, no three-ring circus with people who pretended to care about forever. But Emma wanted a party. 9-year-old logic. If grown-ups get married, there should be cake and dancing. Hard to argue with that kind of reasoning. I was checking the string lights Caleb and I had hung that morning when my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number, but I recognized the area code. Michelle's new apartment complex. Heard you got married. Congratulations. I stared at the message for 30 seconds, then deleted it without responding. Ancient history trying to resurface. Not today. The backyard was perfect. Olivia's garden beds along the fence, Emma's swing set in the corner, picnic tables borrowed from the community center. Nothing fancy, nothing that screamed look at me, just real people celebrating something real. Austin, you need to see this. Olivia appeared at the back door in her dress. Simple blue sundress, nothing that cost more than my truck payment. She was holding her phone, grinning like she'd won something. What's up? Emma made us a wedding video. She turned the screen toward me. She's been working on it all week. The video was 2 minutes of Emma explaining why Austin and her mom were the best married people ever. Included expert analysis of my pancake making skills, my ability to fix broken toys, and the way I always said, please and thank you. The kid had better logic than most marriage counselors. She's getting this family thing figured out, I said. She's not the only one. Olivia stepped closer, adjusted my tie. You ready for this? Which part? The party or the rest of our lives? Both. I looked at the yard full of people who actually showed up when they said they would. Caleb and his girlfriend Sarah, Detective Price and his wife, Olivia's nursing friends, my crew from the distribution centers. People who understood that commitment meant something. Been ready for 18 months. The reception was exactly what it should have been. Emma gave a speech about how marriage meant Austin would always live here now and never move away. Caleb told embarrassing stories about me trying to grill salmon for one person. Olivia's friend Jessica made a toast about finding someone who shows up every single day. Around 8, after Emma had worn herself out dancing and fallen asleep in Caleb's lap, I pulled Olivia aside. The guests were winding down, lawn chairs scattered around the yard, like evidence of a good time. I need to ask you something, I said. Sounds serious. It is, sort of. I took her hands, still surprised how they fit mine like they'd been designed that way. I want to ask you to do something, and I need you to know why before you answer. She tilted her head, curious. Okay. I want you to take my name, officially. Olivia Pierce instead of Hayes. That's traditional of you. It's not about tradition. I glanced toward the house where Emma was sleeping inside, surrounded by people who'd chosen to be family. It's about erasing the last connection to everything that didn't work, starting completely clean. She was quiet for a moment, studying my face. What about Emma? Hayes is her father's name. Emma can decide when she's older. This isn't about her. It's about us building something that doesn't carry any leftover weight from people who didn't appreciate what they had. Austin Pierce and Olivia Pierce, she said, testing how it sounded. Emma Pierce if she wants it someday. One family, one name, one direction. She laughed, not making fun, just pure happiness. You know what? I love it. Yes, absolutely yes. You sure? It's a pain in the ass to change everything. Driver's license, credit cards, work badges. Worth it. She kissed me, quick and certain. Besides, Hayes never felt like mine anyway. Just something I inherited from a man who sends Christmas cards and doesn't know Emma's favorite color. We spent Sunday filing the paperwork. Turns out changing your name after marriage in North Carolina is straightforward if you do it within a reasonable time frame. Social Security Administration, DMV, bank accounts, insurance policies. Administrative efficiency at its finest. Monday morning, I was in my office reviewing quarterly logistics reports when my phone rang. Michelle's number, which I'd kept in my contacts for the same reason you keep a smoke detector, early warning system. I let it go to voicemail. She called again Tuesday, again Wednesday morning. By Wednesday afternoon, she had left 6 messages I hadn't listened to. Then, Wednesday evening, while I was helping Emma with homework at the kitchen table in our actual family house, my phone exploded with calls. Michelle, calling every 10 minutes like she'd discovered fire. Who keeps calling? Emma asked, looking up from her math worksheet. Nobody important, kiddo. Focus on that word problem. Olivia walked in from her nursing shift, still in scrubs, looking tired but happy. She kissed the top of Emma's head, then mine. Rough day at the office? I asked. 3 sutures, 2 flu shots, and an elderly man who wanted to tell me about his cats for 20 minutes. She grabbed a water bottle from the fridge. You? Quarterly budget review. New contract with a shipping company in Raleigh, and Michelle apparently discovered my phone number again. What does she want? Don't know. Haven't answered. My phone rang again. Michelle, right on schedule. Maybe you should find out, Olivia said. Might be important. I looked at Emma, focused on her homework, then at Olivia, who'd somehow made domestic life look like something worth protecting. Fine. I answered on the 4th ring. Hello, Michelle. Austin? Her voice was different, smaller. We need to talk. No, we don't. We settled everything 18 months ago. Please, just 5 minutes. It's important. I could hear traffic in the background, like she was calling from a parking lot. Make it 2. I heard you got married, to the neighbor. Her name is Olivia. She's my wife now. Silence. Then something that sounded like crying. Michelle, if this is about... I saw the announcement. Her voice cracked. In the Observer, Mr. and Mrs. Austin Pierce request the pleasure of your company, the whole thing. We hadn't put an announcement in the ball. Charlotte Observer. Olivia's mother had done that. Old school manners from a generation that believed in proper notices. I'd forgotten about it completely. Congratulations, Michelle continued. And now she was definitely crying. You both look really happy. We are? I was so stupid, Austin. So incredibly stupid. Michelle? No, let me say this. Please. She took a shaky breath. I threw away the best thing I ever had. I threw away a man who cooked anniversary dinners and built garden beds for neighbors and never once forgot to say please and thank you. Emma looked up from her homework, sensing drama. I pointed toward the living room. She gathered her books and disappeared, smart kid. I can't change the past, Michelle. I know that. But I need you to know that I see it now. What I lost. What I gave up for? For nothing. Jason and I lasted 6 months after you filed papers. 6 months of fighting about money and his wandering eye and the fact that he never once cooked dinner. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Are you? Really? I thought about that. Honest answer. Yeah, actually, I am. I don't want you to be miserable, Michelle. I just don't want to be responsible for your happiness anymore. I read the announcement 3 times, she said quietly. Mr. and Mrs. Austin Pierce, like you erased me completely. And there it was. The thing that had triggered 6 days of phone calls. Not the marriage itself, but the name. Olivia becoming a Pierce. The final official proof that Michelle had been replaced in every possible way. It's not about erasing you, I said. It's about building something new with someone who wants to be there. She took your name. She chose to take my name. Big difference. More crying. I never wanted to take your name, remember? I said Pierce sounded too traditional, too conventional. I wanted to hyphenate, keep Hayes Pierce, maintain my independence. I did remember. The argument we'd had about wedding invitations, about how to file tax returns, about whether marriage meant merging identities or maintaining separate ones. I'd compromised. She'd kept Hayes. Another small distance between us that had seemed reasonable at the time. That was your choice then. This is Olivia's choice now. I was so worried about losing myself, Michelle whispered. I lost you instead. Michelle, listen to me. You made the right choice for who you were then. And I made the right choice for who I am now. We weren't compatible. It wasn't working. But if I had, no buts, no what-ifs. You chose authenticity to yourself over commitment to us. That's not wrong. It's just final. I miss you. She was full-on sobbing now. I miss the man who left notes on bathroom mirrors and remembered how I like my coffee and never once made me feel stupid for changing my mind about dinner. That man is still here, I said quietly. He's just making coffee for someone who appreciates it. The line went quiet except for her crying. I have to go, I said. Emma's got homework to finish, and Olivia just got home from a 12-hour shift. Austin, wait. Take care of yourself, Michelle. I mean that. But don't call again unless someone's dying. I hung up and turned off the phone. Olivia appeared in the doorway, changed into jeans and one of my old work shirts. "Everything okay?" "Everything's perfect." I pulled her into my arms. "How was your day, Mrs. Pierce?" She grinned like I'd given her diamonds. "Better now that I'm home, Mr. Pierce." Emma called from the living room. "Are you guys going to be gross and mushy? Because I need help with this word problem." "Coming, kiddo," I called back. Then to Olivia, "Ready for homework duty?" "Always." We walked into the living room, where Emma had spread her math homework across the coffee table like a tiny accountant. The house smelled like the vanilla candles Olivia liked. Nothing dramatic or desperate, just home. "What's the problem, Em?" I asked, settling next to her on the couch. "If a train leaves Charlotte at 3 p.m. going 60 miles per hour, and another train leaves Raleigh at 4 p.m. going 75 miles per hour, when will they meet?" "Real-world application," Olivia said, sitting on Emma's other side. "Austin deals with this stuff every day." "Logistics," I agreed. "It's all about timing and coordination." "Like marriage?" Emma asked with 9-year-old wisdom. "Exactly like marriage, kiddo. Exactly like marriage." Later that night, after Emma was asleep and Olivia was reading in bed, I stood at the kitchen window looking out at the yard we'd built together. Garden beds, swing set, string lights still twinkling from the reception. Some people appreciate effort, others take it for granted until it's gone. I finally learned to tell the difference, made all the difference in the world.